Hello BookTube, I've been invited to do the literary dinner party tag. The tag was created by Hannah's Books, and I was kindly tagged and invited to Hyde Cottage by Steve Donahue. Thank you, Steve, for the tag and invite. Hopefully one day I'll be able to make it to Boston. So on with the tags while I'm uploading the art books. Question number 1. When you are at a dinner party, do you ask people what they are currently reading? If not, why not? Have you received any great recommendations at a dinner party for a new book to read, or had an especially interesting bookish conversation there? I've never really been invited to a dinner party, or if I have, it has been so long ago that I've pretty much forgotten about it. So if I were to go to a dinner party, would I be asking people what they've been reading? Probably not. I'd be more interested in what they've been up to and how their friends and family and all of that stuff. More so than maybe what they've been reading. Particularly like when I have my aunts over when they want to see my mom. Normally we're talking about how the rest of the family's doing, that sort of thing. And I cannot recall really ever having a very interesting bookish conversation at a dinner party or any sort of get-together. Question number 2. Which authors, living or dead, would you invite to a dinner party? These invites can go out one at a time or in groups so various authors would get to meet each other. I quite liked Mark Richardson's answer to this question of Woolman, Kim Stanley Robinson, and David Brin coming over to talk. And I was thinking of inviting Robert E. Howard, Clark Ashton Smith, Fritz Leiber, Michael Moorcock, C.L. Moore, Kenneth Lee, Charles Saunders, and China Miéville for a dinner party. So we could talk about fantasy and sword and sorcery. Could also expand it to, say, J.R.R. Tolkien and others. But definitely I would be snubbing H.P. Lovecraft. I would not want him over at all. He might think I'm a Gorgon or something. So no, we're not inviting him. I'd also kind of like to have Agatha Christie over, too. But I'm not entirely sure how that would work. Or with whom. Question number 3. Which characters would you like to invite? Definitely Miss Marple and Hercule Poirot, so they could help me sort of organize a dinner party. Also to make sure if there are any homicidal shenanigans going on, that they're there to put a stop to it, or to figure out who's doing it. And also, if there are any sort of romantic shenanigans that need to be set up, they're the people to go to. As much as they solve mysteries, they also are inveterate matchmakers. Who else I would invite? Oh, a whole slew of people. So, Rune St. John from the Last Sun series, Aryan and Sania from the Coruscant Archive, just so many characters. There's a whole lot of characters. Number 4. Have you ever wanted to invite a historical figure after reading a biography or autobiography about that person? Who would it be? It would not be Alexander the Great, because he would get rip-roaring drunk. But any other historical figures? I don't know. I don't really, maybe a few, but not many, I don't think. Anyway, question number 5. What would you serve at one of these parties from questions 2 through 4? Or perhaps what would one of your literary guests bring if you hosted a potluck meal? Well, that would probably indicate asking Julia Child over for either question 2 or 4, so she could help cook, and also other famous chefs. I mean, I would like to cook, but if I'm doing a meal under pressure like that or trying new recipes, I am usually a frazzled wreck. So, anywho, might have to have it catered. But what specific dishes would I serve? I don't know. I guess it depends on who's coming over, what they would have liked or like, and whether or not that's in my cooking culinary skill set to make. Number 6. What is your favorite meal scene in a book or a scene adaptation of a book? I like Steve Donahue's answer of the dinner party scene in Dune. It is fantastic and wonderful. I also really like, so what is that book? Is there any other ones I like? I think I'll go with that one too, because nothing else is really coming to mind at this moment. And number 7, dinner parties aren't the only times people share food and drink. Are there literary scenes you love where characters get together over brunch, afternoon tea, picnics, cocktail parties, etc.? There's a scene in The Hanged Man by Katie Edwards where Rune St. John is trying to prevent his ward from being forced to fulfill a marriage contract to the titular hanged man. And he's sort of scrambling, trying to figure out what to do, and he's invited by his patron, the Tower, to brunch or lunch at this very exclusive Atlantean restaurant where he is served the most exotic of foods. Foods that, well, probably not all that tasty, are basically pure status symbols. They cost an inordinate amount of money to eat. And in that scene, what the Tower is trying to do is really get Rune to understand the sort of who he's up against and also what position he's going to eventually have to take. Because one of the items on the menu is a product from the Hanged Man's farm. And it's quite disgusting how it's produced. Anyway, speaking of which, I think I might want to go and reread the Tarot Secrets novels at some point next year. Because it's been about a year since I've read them. Anyway, okay. Moving on to number 8. Name one of your favorite cringe-worthy dinner party scenes in a book or adaptation. The feast at Titus Andronicus's house. Ooh. Where pretty much most of the named cast are dead by the end of it. Quite cringeworthy. Basically, at this point, Lucius Andronicus's rebellion against Rome is succeeding, and Saturnine is trying to sort of work out a compromise. Titus has figured out that Chiron and Demetrius have raped Lavinia, that their mother Tamara is behind all of the woes that have befallen Titus's family since her assumption of becoming the empress, and Saturnine is likely complicit in much of it. So he's basically worked out this elaborate culinary revenge where he's killed and butchered Chiron and Demetrius and turned them into pies that he feeds to Tamara. And in the Julie Taymor version, he also feeds it to Saturnine. He then has Lavinia come out and asks the Emperor what should be done to a rape victim, and basically in this legend, Virginius kills his daughter because she'd been raped, and Saturnine says that's just cause, so Titus does it, and then he kills Tamara, and then Saturnine kills Titus, and then Lucius kills Saturnine, and Lucius is the emperor. It is quite a cringeworthy scene. But basically Titus Andronicus is like Elizabethan Gorn. Question number 9. When the pandemic ends, what will you serve at your first dinner party or take to the first potluck you attend? I would like to do a 4-layer delight. It's a dessert with a coconut crust layer, a sugared cream cheese layer, a mix of chocolate and vanilla pudding, topped with whipped cream. It is delightful. Although I've kind of been thinking about maybe at some point changing up the recipe. I'm not entirely sure how. Or a German chocolate cake, because I love German chocolate cakes. Although I have been told that I should buy a box mix for the cake and do the frosting homemade, which that's the only way to really do a German chocolate cake icing is homemade. But I would like to actually do the cake itself from scratch. As far as other dishes, not entirely sure. It depends on the situation and when I'm feeling like cooking. Number 10. Which booktubers would you like to invite, i.e. tag, for this literary dinner party? Everybody! Although my apartment is quite too small for everybody. But everybody's tagged. If you would love to do this tag, please do this tag. It's been quite a lot of fun. And maybe we can rent a venue or something. There's a place here. I have no idea why they built it, but they did. Called the Exchange. That we could do like a big get-together party. Maybe. Anyway, I'm going to sign off now and finish loading the art books. And then I'll load this one and let me see how much time I've got. I might be able to have enough time to do the writing books too. So this might be a 4-video day. We shall see. Anyway, BookTube, until tomorrow, I will stay safe, have a great afternoon, and thank you.